When news broke that The Wheel of Time was canceled, the fantasy community reeled. While many fans expressed shock, one voice carried particular weight. Brandon Sanderson, the acclaimed fantasy writer who was handpicked by Robert Jordan's widow and editor Harriet McDougall to finish the iconic book series after Jordan's death. And now, after years of relative silence, Sanderson is finally speaking out. I was largely ignored during the development process, Sanderson said candidly in a recent livestream. They invited me to give input, and I did, extensively. But most of it never made it past the gate. His tone was less bitter than resigned, the kind of frustration that's fermented quietly behind the scenes. Fans have long wondered just how much Sanderson was involved in the Prime Video adaptation, especially after early seasons made significant deviations from the source material. Now, following the show's cancellation after Season 4, reportedly due to high production costs and flagging viewership, Sanderson has confirmed that his creative voice was never central to the project. I knew from Season 1 that they weren't going to follow the books, he said. And I accepted that. It's a different medium, but there's a difference between adaptation and abandonment. This wasn't Sanderson's first brush with adaptation frustration. In past interviews, he's noted how Hollywood has a tendency to strip out the heart of epic fantasy in favor of spectacle. The depth of the characters, the philosophical questions, the pacing, all those things that made Wheel of Time revolutionary in its day, felt minimized or removed, he said. While he admits he didn't expect a page-by-page remake, Sanderson expressed concern about what was lost in translation. It's not just about changing plot points. It's about changing the soul of the story, he explained. The first 3 books built a particular world of mystery, magic, and growth. When that arc gets accelerated or reshaped, the long-term payoff suffers. And I think viewers started to feel that. Sanderson also revealed that he attempted to serve as a bridge between the production and longtime readers. I wanted to advocate for the fans, for the world Jordan created, but I was politely thanked and then essentially sidelined. He stopped short of criticizing specific individuals, instead emphasizing systemic issues in how studios approach established IPs. It's the Netflixification of storytelling, he said. Compress it, punch it up, package it. And in the process, forget why people loved it to begin with. In the aftermath of cancellation, Sanderson's remarks feel like both a eulogy and a call to arms. We lost something here. Not just a show, but the opportunity to show the world what the Wheel of Time could be at its best. The books deserved better. However, Sanderson did find some silver linings. There were moments, glimpses, when the show got it right, he noted, citing Rosamund Pike's portrayal of Moiraine and the early world building in Season 1. The actors gave it their all. The visual effects were sometimes stunning. And for viewers unfamiliar with the books, I'm sure it offered entertainment. But for readers? For those of us who lived with these stories for decades, it didn't land. Asked whether he'd consider participating in a future reboot, Sanderson didn't hesitate. Absolutely. If someone were to ask me to help spearhead a new adaptation that was more faithful and long-form, maybe even animated or something serialized like Arcane, I'd be all in. But it would need to be a passion project, not just another content churn. Fans have already begun rallying around his comments, reigniting calls for a more book-faithful reboot. A petition calling for a new adaptation, led by Sanderson, gained thousands of signatures within hours of his livestream. Reddit threads have exploded with support, memes, and even speculation that Sanderson might attempt to buy back some form of rights. Of course, that's a legal labyrinth. Sanderson acknowledged that Prime Video still holds adaptation rights for now, making any new version a distant possibility at best. This is the industry. Things don't just happen overnight, he said. But if the appetite is there, and if the rights ever become available again, I think there's a real opportunity to try again, smarter, slower, better. Interestingly, Sanderson also used the moment to reflect on his own properties, like Mistborn and Stormlight Archive, both of which have seen interest from studios. If there's one thing I've learned from this experience, it's that I need to be more hands-on. I can't just hand over the reins and hope for the best. Not if I want the story to survive. His message to fans was ultimately one of gratitude and shared disappointment. You all kept the flame alive for decades, and while this version of the Wheel of Time may not have been what we hoped for, the books still exist. The magic is still there,